Dear Chosen One, the moment has come. That person who once made you question your worth, your calling, your very identity, they're watching you rise now, unable to comprehend how you're still standing. They're losing their composure, their carefully crafted stories falling apart. Not because you fought back, but because you walked away and let God fight for you. This message isn't about celebrating another's downfall. This is about divine revelation, God's perfect timing, and the beautiful vindication that comes when you surrender your battles to Him. Before we continue, take a moment to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This channel exists to strengthen your walk with God through every season of your journey. Welcome to a sacred conversation about what happens when masks fall away and truth emerges. About that moment when those who misunderstood you suddenly see who was authentic all along. God promised that every weapon formed against you would fail. Not that weapons wouldn't come, but that they wouldn't succeed. If you're in this season of divine revelation, drop a in the comments as we explore what happens when God reveals truth. Chosen One, there's a profound truth I need you to grasp today. When God deliberately removes you from a toxic situation, what follows isn't just absence, it's divine disruption. Your ex isn't losing peace because you left. They're losing peace because God removed His covering from that connection. The stability you brought wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. You were the intercessor, the grace giver, the one absorbing attacks while still extending kindness when it wasn't deserved. You were the light in their darkness, and now that light is gone. What you're witnessing now isn't your doing. It's what happens when God says enough and extracts His anointed one from harm's way. Everything hidden begins to surface. Every lie begins to crack. Every manipulation tactic stops working. God tells us nothing remains hidden forever. Everything concealed will eventually come to light. This isn't your revenge, it's God's revelation. Your silence didn't expose them. Your absence didn't destroy them. God simply allowed their true nature to become visible once His light bearer was removed. That's why people are confused. The narrative they believed about you and your ex no longer matches reality. The person who claimed you were the problem suddenly has problems with everyone. The one who said you were unstable now can't maintain balance in their own life. This isn't coincidence. This is consequence, the natural outcome when God withdraws His grace from a situation that was hurting His child. Your removal wasn't the cause of their chaos. It was simply the moment God stopped preventing it. Let's be honest and spiritually transparent here. Their distress isn't rooted in missing you romantically. It's rooted in missing what you provided. Unlimited access to your energy, your gifts, your light, and your potential. Some people don't love you, they love what they can extract from you. When you finally healed, when you stopped reacting, when you refused to engage in the chaos, you disrupted their entire system of control. You removed yourself as a power source for their manipulation. Chosen One, understand this. Darkness becomes frantic when it can no longer manipulate light. That's why they're watching your social media. That's why they're asking mutual friends about you. That's why they seem restless, unsettled, even angry. That's why they alternate between trying to draw you back and trying to tear you down. What you're witnessing is spiritual withdrawal. They're not craving you, they're craving the spiritual resources they access through you. God promises us that although weapons will form, they won't succeed against us. Notice the wording, weapons will be created. People will strategize. Attacks will come. But their effectiveness ends where your anointing begins. Now everyone can see this truth playing out. The very ones who targeted you are struggling while you continue to advance. The very plans meant to destroy you are crumbling while your path steadily clears. This isn't just emotional dynamics at work. This is spiritual law in action. What's done in darkness must eventually face the light. Most people misunderstand spiritual warfare. They think it always looks dramatic, shouting matches, public confrontations, visible conflict. But Chosen One, the most significant battles you fought were internal. The real warfare happened in the quiet moments, in your private prayers, in your midnight tears. You battled guilt for finally choosing your own well-being. You fought fear of being permanently misunderstood. You struggled against trauma bonds pulling you back. You resisted the overwhelming urge to explain yourself. You overcame the temptation to return to what was familiar but toxic. That battlefield wasn't visible to human eyes, but it was intensely real. And that's where your true victory was won. Not in winning arguments, but in walking away. Not in proving points, but in preserving peace. Not in changing their mind, but in transforming your own. Our spiritual battles aren't fought with physical weapons. Our warfare isn't against flesh and blood. We fight with divine power that tears down strongholds in the mind and heart. Your weapon wasn't clever comebacks. Your weapon wasn't public exposure. Your weapon wasn't revenge tactics. Your weapon was obedience to God's voice when He told you to leave. Your power was submission to His guidance when He led you to silence. Your victory was sealed in the moment you trusted His plan more than your own need for vindication. What feels like defeat in the natural realm is often triumph in the spiritual realm. Your willingness to be misunderstood temporarily allowed God's truth to be revealed permanently. What was your hardest internal battle during this journey? Drop it in the comments below and let's encourage one another. Hit that like button if you've experienced this invisible warfare and recognized it for what it was, a divine preparation for your next level. Remember, battles fought in obedience lead to victories beyond explanation. Here's a truth many chosen ones find difficult to accept. God sometimes allows others to believe lies about you temporarily, not to harm you, but to set the stage for a more powerful revelation. Not everyone has spiritual discernment to recognize truth immediately. Some people need to witness fruit before they can judge a tree. Now they're noticing. You maintained consistency, while others changed their story. You remained silent, while others grew louder. You advanced quietly, while others remained stagnant. Your peace increased, while others became more chaotic. Your life aligned with your words, while others' contradictions multiplied. Meanwhile, the one who portrayed themselves as the victim can no longer maintain the act. The mask is slipping. The performance is breaking down. God tells us that those who dig pits for others will eventually fall into them themselves. You didn't need to create consequences for your ex. Their own actions generated natural outcomes. People are switching sides now, not because you convinced them, but because reality has become undeniable. Truth doesn't need defenders, it simply needs time. This revelation isn't happening because you orchestrated it. It's happening because you got out of God's way and let Him handle what was never your responsibility to fix. Your vindication didn't require your participation, only your patience. Chosen one, receive this word of caution. This season is simultaneously a blessing and a test. As divine exposure continue, you may encounter sudden apologies from those who wounded you, attempts at accountability that feel too convenient, doors reopening that God deliberately closed, guilt-inducing messages designed to pull you backward, emotional appeals that target your compassionate nature. Remember this: God doesn't restore what He intentionally delivered you from. He doesn't lead you back to what He fought to free you from. The freedom you now experience wasn't just a personal preference. It was a divine directive. You didn't simply decide to leave. You were led out by the hand of God Himself. God reminds us that we're freed for the purpose of freedom itself. We're instructed to stand firm and refuse to be yoked again to bondage. That's not just good advice, it's spiritual instruction. This season requires discernment. Not every apology seeks reconciliation. Some merely seek relief from consequences. Not every admission acknowledges true fault. Some only acknowledge getting caught. Guard your heart carefully. The very recognition you once desperately wanted may now be your greatest test. Will you accept human validation at the cost of divine direction? Stay focused on where God is taking you, not where others belatedly realize you had value. Chosen one, here are 5 practical steps to protect your newfound clarity and continue your forward movement. First, guard your silence carefully. Not everyone deserves access to your testimony or your transformation story. God is writing chapters in your life that aren't meant for public consumption yet. Let people witness the fruit of your obedience without needing to explain the root of your decisions. Your changed life speaks volumes without requiring additional commentary. Second, deepen your prayer life intentionally. This season of vindication isn't the time to grow comfortable or complacent. Elevation attracts new levels of warfare. What got you here won't sustain you where you're going. Create sacred space daily to commune with God, remaining sensitive to His guidance and warning signals. Third, forgive completely without re-establishing connection. Forgiveness is a release mechanism, not a reconciliation mandate. You can completely pardon someone's actions against you without granting them renewed access to your life. Wish them well from a healthy distance. Pray for their restoration without volunteering to be part of the process. Fourth, maintain disciplined boundaries. What God is building through you requires structure, focus, and protection. Be intentional about who has access to your energy, your time, your vision, and your peace. Not every opportunity is divine direction. Not every open door is meant for you to walk through. Fifth, actively pursue God-given dreams with renewed focus. Write your vision clearly. Pray over it daily. Take consistent action toward its fulfillment. The best response to past disappointment is future achievement. The most powerful answer to those who doubted you is becoming exactly who God called you to be. God instructs us to record our vision plainly so we can run with it. Your next chapter isn't just about moving past old pain. It's about moving toward divine purpose with unprecedented clarity. Chosen one, hear this truth. Your healing didn't just restore you, it exposed deception around you. When you stopped reacting, stopped pursuing, stopped explaining, and started trusting God fully, the truth became impossible to ignore. Your transformation created contrast that revealed reality. People now recognize you weren't the actual problem. You weren't emotionally unstable. You weren't manipulative or controlling. You weren't consumed by jealousy or bitterness. You were simply chosen and therefore misunderstood. And that's completely acceptable. Being misunderstood is part of the chosen journey. Even Jesus was profoundly misunderstood by those closest to him. The healthy version of you created an uncomfortable mirror for those still operating in dysfunction. Your peace highlighted their chaos. Your growth emphasized their stagnation. Your authenticity exposed their performance. You didn't need to convince anyone. Your transformation became the evidence. Your healing became the argument. Your peace became the proof. What your enemy intended for your humiliation, God is transforming into your platform. Your testimony will heal those still trapped where you were once bound, warn those heading towards similar situations, empower those fighting to break free, lead wounded hearts back to God's restoration. This is why you endured what seemed unbearable. This is why you couldn't give up when surrender seemed logical. This is why God preserved you through every attack. Your story isn't just about personal victory, it's about collective liberation. The wisdom you gain through pain will prevent others from needless suffering. The discernment you develop through deception will protect others from similar traps. God works all circumstances together for good for those who love Him and align with His purposes. What you experienced wasn't random cruelty, it was preparation for ministry. Not just any ministry, but one uniquely fitted to your experiences, your scars, your victories. Chosen one, this chapter is evidence of God's redemptive power. Don't respond with mockery. Don't indulge in gloating. Don't feel compelled to explain. Simply stay aligned with God's direction. This exposure wasn't orchestrated to humiliate anyone. It happened to protect you and prepare you for what's next. Your future requires this present clarity. Your calling demands this current peace. Your purpose necessitates this deeper communion with God. If this message confirmed what your spirit already knew, receive it with gratitude, not pride. Your season has shifted. Your name has been cleared. Your path is protected. Share this video with another chosen one who needs this confirmation today. Subscribe to Chosen Path for more divine insights. Stay chosen. Stay obedient. Stay rising.